Hello everyone and welcome back to a fun, exciting episode of Robbie Plays. I'm jumping back into Amnesia. I had a bit of an issue yesterday recording. Um, I got a good ways into this game. I'm in a totally different place now. I got a good ways into this, and my computer completely crashed. Like 3 episodes in, computer crashed. Nothing was saved. So we're going to attempt this again. Hopefully it goes better. I'm going to go back and show you where all I went, what all happened. I jumped back as far in the saves. Oh god, that guy's annoying. I jumped back as far in the save files. Turn that down a touch. There we go. As I could. I can only go back so far, but I'm not. I went back at least further than I thought it did. So I'm gonna breeze through the next episode or so, because I know exactly where to go and exactly what needs to be done. But okay, last you saw, I was down in the sewer area and being chased by the water monster. I broke off a piece of pipe, jammed it in the big spinning thing, came to a ladder, came upstairs, and ended up here. From here, continued on, back down the stairs, back to that guy I was talking to before. That is Agrippa, the guy who taught Alexander. He has a whole bunch of dialogue and explains shit that I didn't really pay attention to. There was a little puzzle thing with him. I had to get some levers working that raised that door there and one right there. In order to do this, I got very frustrated and ended up having to look it up and find out that this is a thing, and that's what I needed to fix. Which was dumb, and there's no way I could have figured that out on my own. Through this door here, I'll just go through. There's this little cell area. Through here is the chancel, and there's a monster in here, some arcane shit. Nothing particularly fascinating, other than the fact that there is a big room that looks really cool. First off, yeah, this place. Big, creepy, sinister. You know the works. That way is a little laboratory area. That way is a point where I respawned that was like a whole bunch of arcane shit. And through here, which is where I need to try and go, is this thing. Big zappy-doo gateway. Hurts you if you try and walk through it. And a pedestal, perfectly shaped for an orb. I can't go through it without the orb to turn off the thing. Yada yada yada. Agrippa told me that the orb's broken in 6 pieces. I gotta go get the pieces. Yada yada. Blah blah blah. Etc. Etc. He also wants me to find ingredients for a thing to put him back in his. Well, not necessarily in his body, but essentially, he's essentially immortal and can't die, and has been ripped or stuck into a zombified, essentially, body. So he wants me to create a potion that'll help him escape. I had gotten to a point I had gotten all the orb pieces, had gotten all the ingredients to save him, and proceeded into another area. Yeah, this guy. Ow. Yeah, those hurt. But yeah, that's a zombie. His voice comes from this thing. He asked me to turn it on I have no idea what it does. It puts out green gas, that's all I know.
You should hurry, Daniel.
You should shut up. And this is my inventory right now. Okay? So I am going to breeze through a bunch of stuff here because I figured out one of the ingredients I need is the saliva from the water monster. Well, we get to go fishing. Lower the meat. It tears it to shreds. Yep, something's pulling the rope, something's pulling the rope. And reel it back up. And we have a bone with its saliva. Don't fall down there. It'll kill you. Alright. Now this way, continuing around, is a room that I started in a little bit ago, the transept. It's a big room with little chambers off to each side that hold torture devices. And I had a nice long discussion on torture and all sorts of interesting historical stuff.
How much more, Baron? How much more am I supposed to withstand? Kill me already! Kill me!
This one. Prepare him.
I will admit, a mite bit salty at this game right now. Because oh, look at the mousey. Where'd the mousey go? Oh, there he is. I thought I vaporized him. Look at the mouse. Okay, enough with the mouse. Oh god, I remember which one this one is. I did a detailed discussion about each of these. I'll try and say what I said before. This device, however, well, torture method. You can see the picture of right there. And we'll hear the explanation of in a second. The rapist hanged upside down, his tears soiled with blood flooding from his belly. The saw between his legs had lodged itself in the hip and wouldn't move any further. The men stepped back and waited for the victim to drain. And this one actually was particularly used on rapists. They would hang the person up by their feet and get a big-ass saw and split them down the middle. Like that. Letting all the blood drain into there. This is where I'm going to get the second ingredient for the potion to save him. I need Vita. The three ingredients are the saliva from the water monster, Vita, and poison mushroom. Like a poison gland. But to do that, I need to go up here first. And my lantern's out. As always. This actually might be a little bit more entertaining now that I know what I'm supposed to be doing. Because I spent about 3 episodes, one of which was entirely spent with me running around with no idea what the hell I was supposed to be doing. Yeah, I need the string. I take the string and combine it with the jar, and then I can hang and dip the jar to get the blood. There are quite a few things to be said about torture. I figured that the reaction I would get from the victims would be highly individual. Thankfully, this is not the case. The humans all have a very similar approach to dealing with physical pain and the terror of anticipation. I can't stress enough the importance of restraining the victims before proceeding. Even the most timid creature can break out in fits of violence where their strength exceeds their expected prowess. If proper care has been put into breaking the victim, this should not be a problem, but it will also hinder the effect I am after. The right steps to take are, therefore, to restrain while the victim is still dazed, preceded by presenting the form of torture you are about to apply, and then continue with the actual act. The point of presentation is to infuse terror. The human mind is extremely efficient, as it will trigger itself into greater fear, simply by imagining it. While applying pain, make sure to avoid massive damage, as it will prove more efficient if the process can be sustained. Also, apply the pain in doses, if possible, with breaks to let the body settle. If you are whipping or cutting the victim, strike once, wait for the pains to subside, then strike again. As long as the body suffers, it will continue to produce the vita, saturate the body with its properties. Only with careful performance will the victim yield maximum effect. If the victim doesn't behave as expected, it is likely that all will be for naught. Before this happens, feed them the amnesia drink and try again later. So what they were doing is they were torturing people to the point that the victim completely mentally broke. And then would feed them the amnesia drink, let them recover, and do it again to produce more of this vita. Is it you, my love, I miss the most, or is it perhaps myself? I know what I have become. I am not blind. I am a monster to them, a demonic sultan perched on the dark mountaintop. There is little I can do to redeem myself. The Black Eagle fears me, and after Napoleon's defeat, it is only a matter of time before they will demand my head on a platter. I must remove myself from this land. This time it must work. If I can't return home now, I shall perish. Okay. But yeah, that's all I needed up here. Yeah, and this painting before it was him, and now it's creepy. I like this staircase. I've always loved spiral staircases. Like, it's just a weird elegance to them. Okay, let me run back down that room I came from and grab the blood. If the computer crashes this time and I lose the data, I am gonna go insane because I'm just tired of it crashing. It was a memory error blue screen is what happened. I've run a bunch of checks. I've run a whole bunch of like defragging the system, all sorts of stuff that I did. I've removed the stick of RAM that I think might have been going bad, and hopefully, no promises, but hopefully, it won't crash anymore.
The cradle is ready.
Good.
Oh, God.
Man, how can you partake in this?
Is he all right?
He is one of the wicked. Don't pay his lies any attention.
I'm not a bad man. It was an accident.
He set a man on fire.
It wasn't my fault. Why won't anyone...
Yeah.
That's horrible.
Of course. We are dealing with monsters here.
And this is the cradle. Now this device, they would string a man up by their arms and their ankles, and they would cinch him down onto this spike. Ooh, that was an unpleasant sound. But yeah, they would cinch him down onto that spike, and essentially just let him sit there. Pulling whenever they can, pushing him further down onto it. Very, very fucked up method of torture. Well, any torture is fucked up. But there's piece of orb number 2. So there's 6 orbs, 6 torture devices. And all of them very fucked up. Torture in general, it's a very fucked up thing to do to somebody. Ah, damn it. Always with the lights going out. Oh, is it not going to trigger? Hey, you can see what they do with this one. The kidnapper sat on her knees with her hands tied behind her back. She felt her hands being lifted, and her body followed. Her shoulders gave way to the weight of her own body and cracked loudly. The suspended woman cried hysterically as men contemplated their next step. So yeah, essentially this is a vertical version of the rack. They would chain your hands here and your feet there, set you on the stool, and slowly start lifting you up, like so. Eventually your shoulders would break, and eventually it would start pulling your spine apart. Again, very, very fucked up. Oh, we also learned these tubes here in the wall would let the screams go into the prison section where other people could hear the person screaming in agony and know what fate awaited them. Yeah. And Satan wants my butthole. Okay, on to the nave. It had gone too far. The man was suffocating as he could no longer breathe properly between the lashes. Displeased, he started to look for the Damascus rose.
You again.
Yep, me again.
All the ore pieces used in the transfer. Go to the choir and find some.
Hit me. Hit that boy. Oh shit, what up? Okay. Thank you for stopping hallucinating. There. This game, too, progressively, like, ups the number of moans in your ear. There's another one of those. Agrippa Channa's Wire. Okay, Wire was, Agrippa's other student. Wire taunts me from the other side. I trusted him with my true reason for my efforts, and still he insists on me releasing Agrippa. How an enlightened man can show such lack of compassion in a seat of power disgusts me. I can't bring myself to part from Agrippa. He is, and has been for centuries, my only link to the worlds beyond. Wire claims he tries his best to release me from my banishment, but that he needs me to give him Agrippa first, so he too can help. If he could guarantee success, I would happily oblige, but how am I to part from him if my return might be denied? I don't know what they are capable of. I have seen their deception. Optimism is a most hopeless feeling, but I must retain it. I shall prepare for his release. To release Agrippa without killing him, Wire told me to feed him a tonic made from a paralyzer, vita, and tempter. Okay, that's the 3 ingredients we needed. A poisonous fungi should work as a paralyzer if I can find the internal gland from a large specimen. The choir seems to be a fertile ground for this sort. I should then be able to extract its contents with the proper tools. The vita could be extracted as usual from any agonized human victim's blood. I just need large amounts to distill it properly. Remember to collect this during the next torture session, and that's where we dipped the thing and got the blood. Tempter, on the other hand, will prove more difficult. I don't think it exists in this world. Simply writing the word with these letters looks wrong. I believe it is a property of the secretion in the water-dwelling carrink. I will have to address Wire with this, as he will have to supply me with a host. Also, a properly paired well should suffice to contain it. That's the water monster we fought earlier that was in the bottom of the well. We lowered the well down with the meat and got the saliva from it. In court, the Order of the Black Eagle spew their politics at each other, while I sit quietly in place, willfully forgotten. Once in a while, someone will notice me and lose themselves in a silent cower before regaining their senses. They all know I am the one and the same Alexander who helped their fathers and grandfathers to found this great order. I've seen them take their fathers' places, and they too will grow old and pass away, while I remain the same, aged not by time, but by anguish. Yeah, so Alexander's immortal. Fun fact. On to the choir. Oh. The thick liquid spread across his tongue. He swallowed excessively to consume every drop. He looked through the window at the widespread forest and the morning sun. Will this ever end? He thought. So I'm starting to piece together the story of what happened. It's a pretty fucked up story. After the man secured the prisoner, the ritual began. Okay, that'll trigger something. I'm gonna look around first. I don't think there was anything else in here. Just this.
15th of August, 1839. The blood wards are failing. The shadow beckons, and its cry disarms my actions. Hurry. No time to spare. You have to kill another. Alexander produces a knife. He wants me to cut the flesh.
Can't leave.
Save yourself. He is a murderer, Daniel. He is evil.
No, he's not.
A cold-blooded killer.
He's innocent,
Hurry.
is the thing.
Alexander, you must let me be. I have to concentrate. Take the man, cut the lines, cut the flesh, watch the blood spill, let it come.
Yeah, so they painted the sigil on the chest, and then used the knife to carve the sigil into them.
Take the man, cut the lines, paint the man, cut the lines. Please, the man cries. Now you see.
And apparently this ritual increased the amount of Vita they could harvest.
One life for another. You hear me, guardian of the orb? I did all
And that's how they
this
kept
for
the
you.
guardian, the shadow,
Once
away.
more, withdraw your shadow from my domain.
Yeah. So that's how they kept the shadow at bay.
Isn't much time. I can feel it. We must act swiftly. I will do whatever it takes.
Yeah. So that's what happened, and now when I go out here, there's bodies hanging. With, if I can get to the other side, with sigil painted on them. Isn't that just lovely? Oh, so incredibly pleasant. Alright. Let's head deeper in. To the main hall of the choir. Carefully cutting the man open made him think. This is how a father must feel about his craft. Being an artisan, relying on one's skill to perform something so delicate grants a certain form of pride. Now, wandering around in here
What are my
is
intentions,
another,
Daniel?
one of the creatures like what was in the sewer area.
It used to be yours, but now you only seek misplaced revenge. How do you justify your violence? Is it for the
I don't.
greater good? Are you doing the world a service?
No, it's all for
It is
himself.
you who caused all this pain and death. If you had accepted your fate and submitted to the orb when you first discovered it, none of this would
No
have happened.
thanks.
It is curiosity in league with your selfishness that is killing us both.
I think I might have missed a door, but there's another one up here. That trilling creature is super annoying.
The wheel is good for keeping your victims still during the procedure. They can be bound around the circumference or simply stretched across, tying limbs to the spokes and rim. All tools are by this point useful, and you may administer the torture in any way you like. But the forte of the wheel is the gaps. When you have decided that the victim shall die, you can smash their limbs with a hammer, making them fold in between the frame.
But they'll die. Too quickly, I mean.
No, don't worry. The human body is much more resilient. They can survive for days until they finally succumb.
So yeah, that's the wheel. There are other versions of the wheel, but this is the, I guess, more common one that I know of, at least, where you're strapped to the front of it and tied on, and then beaten senseless, essentially, stretched across it. The other version, they would be stretched across the top of it, like that, and the wheel would be spun, and the centrifugal force would cause them to lose consciousness or, you know, cause pain, but they would be cut while doing it. They could also be rotated over a fire or across spikes, all sorts of messed up stuff. I was in a medieval history class a while back, and I read up on a bunch of torture devices for an essay. There's some pretty messed up stuff. But that's why I know about these, not a torturer. At this point, we're probably about twice as far as I was before. Or not twice as far, but like halfway. Yeah. Yeah, this son of a bitch. Hide and wait. Yeah, because he's super fast, and once he spots you, it's over. I think I missed one on that right side. Maybe not. But I'm back at the entrance to the room now, so I'm gonna go to the left. If you run from that thing, I think it's blind is what it is. I might try that and just quietly move to a spot and hold still if I run into him again. But yeah. Now, so essentially, here's what I think was going on. So Daniel found this orb, looked for help. Alexander agreed to help him. Alexander had already had an orb at one point, and it had been broken. Oh, here's everyone's favorite torture device, the Iron Maiden. Jeez. I've seen that. I knew it was coming, and I still jumped. The forger stood absolutely still. The casket had been closed, but a faint light made its way inside. A myriad of spikes pointed at him, glittering as they waited for his body to slip just for a moment. His knee jerked, and he felt blood trickle down his leg. In pain, his head fell slightly forward. It took him a while to realize his eye had ruptured and begun to leak. Ugh. But what I was saying, essentially, pick up the, yeah, that. He asked for help. Alexander agreed to help him after having broken his own orb, in the intention, I believe, of stealing the orb from Daniel. Or using it somehow. We found out recently that Alexander, the orb he had some ability to send one to another world. That his partner and friend, what's his name? Hang on, what's the guy's name? Not Diaries. Notes. Wire. Okay, Wire had used the orb to travel to another world and could travel back and forth now. And Wire and Alexander were both Agrippa's students. Now, Alexander tried to use the orb, and it broke on him. And I don't know, shit's been going down. Apparently, to keep the shadow monster from finding them, they need they're doing human sacrifices to get the substance Vita. There's a lot of alchemy and stuff like that going on. But he convinced Daniel to join in on these sacrifices. Telling Daniel that the people he was sacrificing were bad people. Okay, there's the poison gland I need. Were bad people, like murderers, criminals of some sort, and that killing them was just, and it would help Daniel. Yes. This is personally my favorite and probably the most fucked up torture device, the Brazen Bull. The traitor did not know what to think of the brass bowl as he was forced to enter it. Only when the heat of the fire began to scorch his skin and cook his flesh did he realize it was to be his tomb. His screams of pain echoed inside the brass chamber and traveled through the complex instrument which was the bull's head. Outside, the men could hear the brazen bull bellow. So they would put a guy inside it, lock it shut, and light a fire under it, and as the brass slowly heated up, it would transfer the heat to the person inside. And there's nothing, brass transfers heat really well and becomes very hot, so there's nowhere for him to move inside of it to cool off. And as it would cook the person inside, and inside the head and neck of the bull is a series of pipes that would change the sound of the screams to sound like a bull's bellowing. And this one is hooked up to a pipe, which leads back to the what's it called? The main chamber, the cells. But so Alexander convinced Daniel to do this to keep the shadow creature at bay, to give Alexander the time to somehow get the orb from Daniel. So that's... Daniel finally apparently somehow figured out what was going on, took the amnesia drug to forget, leaving himself a note to kill Alexander. And that's what I'm trying to get to him and do. Okay, so we've got everything we need. We've got 2, 3... Yeah, we all got all 6 fragments of the orb, and we got the 3 ingredients. Now we have to actually properly use the ingredients, but all in its own time. Once I get them back to the main chamber, I think I'll end it. But yeah, what Alexander did was fucked up. But Nathan's complacency in it and trusting Alexander. Alexander is a sketchy dude from the start, and Nathan knew that. But he still trusted Alexander, which was his big mistake, I think. I mean, these sacrifices, this is clearly some fucked up shit. But let's head back up. And we are almost back to where I was. What took 3 episodes before took 1. I should show you how long I spent just wandering around. Excuse me. Trying to figure out what the hell I was supposed to be doing.
There's something else. Incredible. You found Vile's recipe. That there might still be a chance. Listen carefully. Alexander is working on opening a gate.
Yeah.
Go to another realm. It's where he wants to go. If you could put your anger aside, let him open the portal before you take your revenge. Let me pass the gate then.
Maybe.
Please, find the ingredients and prepare the tonic via described. And do so before you assemble the orb. The barrier keeping you from the inner sanctum will only be breached for a short time. Unless everything is taken care of before mending the orb, you won't be able to save him.
Alright. So, that's where I'm going to leave it today. Thank you all for watching. I'm going to pause because otherwise he'll just continue to prattle on. If you enjoyed this video, click like, comment, and subscribe. Click that little bell, get notifications every time one of our video goes up. Or just check back at the channel. I'm fine with that too. Check out our Patreon if you feel so inclined. Give us a few bucks. We'll keep making more videos. And as always, have fun. Bye-bye.